we talk about like the contemporary physics. So initially, we should be talking about the Higgs boson is a fundamental particle associates with the Higgs field, a field that gives mass to other fundamental particles such as electrons and quarks. Quarks, okay, we already know about the electrons. Quarks is also there within the atom. In atom, we initially have learned that there is nucleus, there is electron, and there is neutrons. But few other things like quarks and few other things are also there within the atom. This thing gradually scientists came to know about all these things and they discovered all these things. Higgs boson was proposed in 1964 by Peter Higgs. So remember this name, Peter Higgs, and which he had contribution in which field? On the Higgs, in the discovery of Higgs boson. Okay, so the theory of relativity predicts that. This boson comes from the name of Bose, which I previously talked about. This gentleman is a Bengali, and he was a professor at Dhaka University. And during his time as a professor in the university, he discovered this. Along with the study of Higgs, he discovered this Higgs boson concept. Okay, so the theory of relativity predicts phenomena associated to the expansion, notably redshift versus the distance relationship known as Hubble's law, functional forms of the cosmology, distance measurement that differs from what would be expected if space were not expanded. Okay, we know this thing that the space or the universe is in continuous expansion, or to be more precise, the universe is always expanding. We know this thing, right? But how this thing was actually proved? This was proved by this man, which is called Hubble. He discovered actually basically this thing, not invented, he discovered this thing that the universe is at continuous expansion. So if the universe is always expanding, so that means that at some point, at the very early, like in the billions of years ago, there was a time when the universe was like a single point, and from this point, it gradually is increasing, expanding and expanding. So if it is expanding, that means at some point it was just a small point. And from this, the theory of Big Bang comes. Big Bang theory basically says that from a very small particle, it expanded, the particle got expanded with a very, very high intensity. From there, the universe actually happened, or whatever we see around us is basically based on this Big Bang theory. So many people believe this Big Bang theory, many people do not believe this Big Bang theory, but it's still there. You can study about this on the internet. It's an interesting thing to study. And okay, so now we have already talked about which scientists had contribution in which fields.